Jazzma Pryor, and thank you for joining me for Black Women of American History, part of Fleetwood-Jourdain Theater's Black History 24/7, 365. We are going to begin this series with Clara Brown, the first African American to settle in Denver, Colorado, who established and ran a successful laundry business during the Colorado Gold Rush. Clara Brown was born enslaved in Spotsylvania County, Virginia in the early 1800s. At 9 years old, Clara and her mother were sold to Adam Smith, a tobacco farmer, and later moved with his family to Logan County, Kentucky. At 18 years old, Clara married her husband, Richard, who was also enslaved, and together they had 4 children, Richard, Margaret, and twins Paulina Ann and Eliza Jane. Tragically, Paulina drowned at the age of 8. In 1835, Clara's owner, Ambrose Smith, died, and in order to settle the estate, every member of Clara Brown's family was sold to different slave owners. With the help of friends who could write, letters were sent, and Clara learned that her husband and daughter Margaret had died, and her son was lost. Thus began her lifelong search for her daughter, Eliza Jane. Clara was later enslaved by her new owner, George Brown, for 20 years. However, in 1856, at the age of 53, and as written in George Brown's will, Clara was given her freedom. For 3 years, Clara searched for her daughter Eliza Jane through Kentucky, Missouri, and Kansas. She finally arrived in Colorado in 1859 while working on a wagon train as a cook for Colonel Benjamin Wadsworth and his crew. This arrival made Clara Colorado's first African American. She opened a laundry business in Denver, and after about 6 months, she moved to what is now known as Central City, Colorado. In Central City, Clara opened a thriving laundry business while also working as a midwife, cook, and nursemaid. She was able to save $10,000, an amount the equivalent to about $400,000 today. She invested her money in real estate, owning lots, properties, houses, and mines in Denver, Central City, Boulder, Georgetown, and Idaho Springs. In addition to being a thriving entrepreneur and business owner, Clara's altruism was vast. Deemed Aunt Clara in her community, Clara Brown continuously gave her time and money to those in need. Her home was offered as a gathering place for church services, a hospital for the ill, a home for the homeless, and just a general refuge for anyone in need. Through her donations, she aided in the establishment of the Catholic Church and the first Protestant church in the Rocky Mountains. After the Civil War ended, she returned to Kentucky and traveled to Tennessee in search of her daughter, Eliza Jane. Although her search was unfruitful, she brought 16 relatives and many formerly enslaved African Americans back to Denver and helped them find work and begin anew. By 80 years old, Clara's money had run out because of her charitable donations, money spent searching for her family, and unfortunately by being swindled by crooked real estate agents. She also lost several properties by fire and flood. While living in Denver, Clara heard that her daughter was alive and living in Council Bluffs, Iowa. In 1882, and at the ripe age of 82, Clara's dream finally came to fruition when she traveled to Iowa to meet her 56-year-old daughter, Eliza Jane, as well as her granddaughter, Cindy. Clara Brown, the angel of the Rockies, died on October 26, 1885, surrounded by her family and political elites like Denver's mayor and Colorado's governor. Clara Brown was voted into the Society of Colorado Pioneers in 1885. A little over a century later, the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame inducted Mrs. Brown in 1989. In her honor, a memorial chair was placed in Central City's Opera House. You can also see a statue of Clara Brown on display at the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., as well as a beautiful stained glass window of Clara Brown in the rotunda of the Colorado State Capitol. Dr. George June, professor of Africana Studies at the University of Northern Colorado, stated, "People like Clara Brown are rare. She saw her role in the world not as I or me against them, but as us and we. She was highly thought of not only by Black people, but by white people as well. It was the way that she lived her life that garnered her the amount of respect that she received. She never lost that faith. It was the basis for what she did. She believed in giving back, and she took Christianity to mean to be Christ-like, being of service to others. She took it to heart."